In this video, I'm going to introduce JavaScript functions. And functions are probably the single most important aspect of JavaScript. So we're going to spend a decent amount of time on them. So we have a few objectives here, and the first one is a conceptual one. We want to understand why we use functions. And then the other three are more about actually writing code. So we want to be able to define a function without arguments, define a function with arguments, and define a function that returns a value. So let's start by talking about what functions actually are. In an earlier video, I mentioned that functions are sort of like a variable for lines of code. So if a normal variable will store a value like hello or 27, a function can store 20 lines of code. And then we can recall that function, and those 20 lines of code can be run again. So it's definitely more nuanced than that explanation, but I like it as a simple way to introduce that functions are just reusable bits of code. So the next thing about functions is that we must declare them first. So we define a block of code and we give it a name, so that makes the function, and then we have to run it later. So it's a two-step process. Declare a function and then call it. So you can see here, this is actually the syntax to declare a function. Function is a keyword, just like var or if or while. So function, anything that we want here, this is our name. So this one is called do something, parentheses, and then curly braces. And then we put as many lines of code as we want inside the curly braces. And then we can call the function later by referencing its name with parentheses at the end. So let me show you what that looks like. So I will define a function here. Let's do function say hi, and all that it's going to do is console.log hello. And we'll have it do 2 lines, console.log goodbye. Just like that. So when I hit enter, JavaScript is going to see this code, but it's not actually going to run the console.logs. I'm just registering a function called say hi, but it doesn't execute the code. So now if I want to call that function, I refer to its name, say hi, and I add parentheses. And I hit enter, and it runs whatever's inside of say hi. So hopefully already you can see why this is useful. Even though it's a very trivial example, we're still writing 2 lines, console.log hello, console.log goodbye, and to do that, all we have to do is write this really short line. So another quick note while I have this open. If I just type the word say hi without parentheses and I hit enter, it just gives me the code back. So this is a really important distinction. If I just type the word say hi, it's just going to give me whatever the value of say hi is, but it doesn't run the code. So I have to have those parentheses there, which will go get the value of this function, and then it's going to run the function. So really important that there's a difference between referring to a function and executing it. So I have another example here of how functions can help us dry up our code. Remember, dry is don't repeat yourself. So if I wanted to sing this song, which is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I have 4 console.log statements. So to sing the song once, I need all of this code. And then I want to sing it again, I need all that code again, and so on. Every time I want to sing this song, I have to run those 4 lines of code individually, which is obviously not very dry. It's a lot of repeated code. So using a function, I can just write those console.logs one time. Function sing song, whatever I want to call it. I put those 4 lines of code in there. And then to sing the song again, all I have to do is write sing song with parentheses. So let's do that now. Let's clear this out, which, by the way, clear is a function that I just used. And this is one that comes with JavaScript in the browser. I don't have to define it. But just like other functions, I need the parentheses to execute it. So back to our sing song function, I'm going to write the function keyword and then a name, and I'll just go with sing song again. And just so you know, the convention is to use camel case for function names, just like variable names. And then I'll add my curly braces, and then whatever I put inside of here is part of the function. So I'm just going to paste those 4 lines, console.logging, twinkle twinkle little star. just like that. And I'm going to hit enter. And now I've told JavaScript about a function called sing-song. If I don't add the parentheses, it just tells me the code. But if I want to sing the song, I just have to write sing-song with parentheses. And if I want to sing the song 4 times, it's super easy. I just type that 4 times rather than having to write 16 console.logs myself. So this illustrates the value of functions, even though it's a trivial example of singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and it's only 4 lines. Imagine when we have functions that are 50 lines of code that we're using 50 times. That's saving us a lot.